Welcome in to another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today, I have my 5 takeaway series covering 5 Dynasty topics. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's go. So, unfortunately, the first topic is not a positive topic. Tyjae Spears suffered a high ankle sprain, kind of has a lot of Dynasty impact. So, Spears was forced out of the Titans preseason game versus the Buccaneers with a right high ankle sprain. We know high ankle sprains are bad news. Very bad news. He faces a very tight timeline for week 1. He's not going to be 100%. He may be active. He may not. He won't be 100%. So it's not so good. Now, last year, Spears struggled with a bunch of injuries. There were 2 concussions, ankle sprain, and a hamstring. Now, the concussions are totally unrelated to this. It's not really a part of the analysis. But the ankle sprain, the hamstring injury, and all of his previous ACL tears all have been in the right leg, just like this injury. So we're getting a little bit of a pileup on issues in this area, which is concerning to me. So we saw last year that these injuries, the concussions, but also the other injuries, limited Spears. In 12 games, he had 84 carries, 312 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3.7 yards a carry, and 30 catches, 224 yards, and a touchdown. Not as good as 2023. No efficiency, really. Failed to deliver the same receiving volume. And unfortunately, I think we're going to get this limited role again, even if he's ready to play, but it's not going to be 100%. So my big takeaway from this is that Tony Pollard's going to be the workhorse running back for at least the start of 2025. He was the clear starter in 2024. I did think there was constant hype from the Titans that Spears would be more involved. I thought Pollard would still be the starter, but Spears would be more involved. I'm not sure about that anymore with the high ankle sprain. Last year, Pollard, 16 games, 260 carries, 1,079 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4.2 yards a carry, and 41 catches, 238 yards. He was fine. He got the job done. Nothing special. But at this point, with Spears nowhere near 100%, and Caleb Mullings, the 6th-round rookie, as the other running back, maybe worth stashing, but not relevant yet. At this point, we have to say that this usage from Pollard in 2024 is what we're going to get to start 2025. That's what we're getting to begin. If you want to use that to keep Pollard on a contender, fair enough. If you want to use that to sell Pollard, this is a great opportunity. But I think you're getting this type of usage again for the foreseeable future from Tony Pollard. Now, Tetairoa McMillan. I loved what I saw. Who cares about the statistics? There were 2 catches for 43 yards. There were 5 targets. Whatever. I don't care about that. What I care about is what happened with the starters. McMillan was the only wide receiver to play a full snap share with Bryce Young. So he's the wide receiver 1 already. He's the X receiver already, the alpha, the X receiver, the wide receiver 1 on the team. Adam Thielen was limited to 11 personnel. So I think he's, competing with Hunter Renfrow for the slot position. Thielen's probably the leader right now. And then Xavier Legette managed to get ejected. And, him and Jalen Coker are in a dogfight for that Z receiver spot. But they're way behind McMillan. I mean, it's not a competition. McMillan's already by far the alpha. And again, that's not a surprise to me. In college, in his final year, 84 catches, 1,319 yards, 8 touchdowns, 109.9 yards a game. Also had 107.9 yards a game in 2023. So 2 elite seasons, early declare, 8th overall draft capital. I mean, this was a very strong prospect. No, he wasn't as good as Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors, but he'd be right in there with Rome Odunze as a very strong prospect. I mean, I talked about him on his buy on the July 25th video. Probably too late now. But for me, McMillan is not that far away from being a dynasty wide receiver 1. It's not going to take much. He's already dynasty wide receiver 16. That's what he was before I updated my rankings. We'll see where he lands now. He's not that far away from that. Couple good weeks, and he'll be there already. I'm very confident that McMillan is going to hit. I've been this way the whole time, but everything's looking even better. A lot of praise for McMillan in camp. Looking good with the usage here. Bryce Young looking good. A lot of praise for him, which I think might help. McMillan hit early. So it's just all kind of coming up roses for Tetairoa McMillan. And I got to learn how to say Tetairoa because he does not like being called Tet. So Tetairoa McMillan looking really good to start off. Now, the next topic, and this player didn't even make it to the game. Jayden Reed had a foot injury. Now, this injury somehow escaped my attention before the Packers game. It was brought to my attention when he didn't play. He didn't play, and there was a walking boot. I had not heard about a walking boot before that. No one had told me about that. So that didn't sound so good. A Packers head coach, Matt LaFleur, said, well, I hope Jayden Reed will be back for the regular season. That doesn't sound so good. I don't like that. Hope back for the regular season. We're 4 weeks away. Hope is not good. Hope is bad. So we don't want to hear about that. Foot injury, we know for wide receivers, what is the worst injury to have? Any foot injury. Foot injuries are always bad. Foot injuries linger. Foot injuries rob you of your explosiveness, rob you of your ability to run routes as crisply, rob you of your ability to separate, rob you of your ability to fight for contested catches. We don't want foot injuries. They're bad news. So this is very bad. So we have to keep a close eye on this issue because a walking boot is serious. Now, remember Joe Mixon? Joe Mixon was in a walking boot. Oh, it's a precautionary. And it's still nowhere to be found 2 months later. So bad news. Now, what's good news is that Matthew Golden and Romeo Doubs, it's very clear what's happening here. They played every single snap with Jordan Love. Now, the Packers, I do think if Jayden Reed is limited or cannot go, will adjust their offense to use more 12 personnel. They used a lot of it in this game. Doubs and Golden played every snap, but they used a lot of 12 personnel. We saw a lot of Luke Musgrave. I'm not saying Luke Musgrave is going to be fantasy relevant. I'm just saying that I'm not sure the absence of Jayden Reed is going to make another wide receiver present. I think the two outside wide receivers, Golden and Doubs, and then we would see more 12 personnel. They use 11 personnel because they have Jayden Reed, not as a general strategy. That's kind of my take on the situation. But one thing I have seen is that Matthew Golden is a clear starter in this offense. Everything we've looked at, the family night, which was predictive last year, this game, it's very clear he is the starter. Him and Doubs are the two outside wide receivers, rotating kind of how exactly they're being used, but they're the two outside wide receivers. I hated Golden as a prospect. I mean, he was a bad prospect. It is what it is. He got first-round draft capital. That's a good sign. He's not valued that highly in Dynasty, so he has a secure role. This could be an opportunity to buy him for less than what he's going to cost later. Am I buying high on Matthew Golden? No, because I still don't really see the ceiling here as a high ceiling. But if he's still cheap, if he still costs what he cost in, rookie drafts, yeah, I'd pay that price for Golden. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using the code TylerYT50. You can get my rankings, access to the Discord, write-ups, Patreon-only videos, direct message fantasy advice, and the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos. Tiers begin at just $5 a month, $250 with a discount, and all of my redraft and start sit content will be on the Patreon. Now, if you want to know more about what I'm offering on there, check out the Why You Should Join the Patreon videos on the channel. They're under Patreon promos on the home page of my channel. And again, I'm going to emphasize, I'm offering this 50% discount off your first month because I believe in the product that I'm delivering on the Patreon. Talk about Dynasty every day in there. We talk about everything else too. And you're going to see, like in this video, I picked 5 takeaways from this weekend. There were way more than 5 things. I did an entire write-up in the Patreon of every takeaway I had. There were maybe 30 or 40 things. On the video, I'm talking about 5. That's not all of them. In season, it's going to be even more, not all of them. If you want to hear me talk about everything, there's not going to be more YouTube videos. There's not going to be longer YouTube videos. There is more. It's just in the Patreon. That's where there is more. If you want more from me, it is available. for patrons. So if you're interested in that, click on the link in the top right corner, patreon.com/fantasy advice. Use the code TylerYT50 at checkout for 50% off your first month. With that said, I'll get into my next topic. Now, my next topic concerns the Jets running back room. Breece Hall, Braelon Allen, and Isaiah Davis all played with the Jets starters. So Hall played 5 snaps with Justin Fields, while Allen played 3 and Davis played 2. Then Hall exited the game while Allen and Davis continued to rotate. I'm not saying this is exactly what we're going to see, but it was rare to see any other team give 3 halfbacks time with the starting quarterback. But the Jets did. All 3 played with Justin Fields. And this goes in line with what Aaron Glenn has said. He said he will involve all 3 running backs this year, which could hurt Hall's value. So last year, Breece Hall gave us, it was fine. I mean, 209 carries, 876 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4.2 yards a carry, and 57 catches, 483 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He averaged 13.1 carries a game, exactly the same as 2023. But he fell off in efficiency and he fell off in catches per game. And I think 13 carries a game, that's about right. I think that's what we're going to see again. I think we're going to see a repeat of last year. Repeat. So if we're going to see a repeat of last year, that makes me nervous. That makes me nervous, and definitely more on the sell side of Hall. Now, another thing I took away from this was Braelon Allen. So you might ask, if Hall's work is going down or remaining the same or not a workhorse, why would Allen be a sell? Well, it's because I want my handcuff running backs, these types of backups, to get all of the work if the starter goes down. That didn't happen in 2024. And it doesn't look like it's happening this year either. In the one game Hall missed, Allen and Davis literally had basically identical snaps, identical touches. And we saw that again. Both played with the first team. Then after Hall left, Davis played mostly third downs, mixed in. It wasn't a perfect split, but there was a mix of work between the 2 players. So if Hall went down, Allen would not be a running back 1 in my that week's start sit rankings. It's not like Zach Charbonnet, who would be an immediate RB1 if Kenneth Walker went down. Braelon Allen would be some sort of RB2, a low-end RB2. It would be risky. The player I actually like stashing here is Isaiah Davis because he's free. And my last comment on this is we heard the interview with Breece Hall where he said, well, I wasn't their guy. This regime, these people, coach, GM, whatever, they didn't bring me in. And, I'm not sure what they think about me. The same thing applies to Allen and Davis. None of these running backs were from this regime. So I'd also be cautious of, if Hall leaves in free agency, saying, well, Braelon Allen will just be the starter 100%. They're not going to bring in anyone else. They could bring in a third guy, kind of like what we've seen with the Jaguars, to compete for touches. So you can get a Hall or good offer for Allen for someone who's never been fantasy relevant. I would, not yet in his career, I would absolutely consider doing that and taking a profit if that were available to me. Last thing, Rachaad White's groin injury opens the door for Sean Tucker. So White played all 10 snaps with the starters, but he was forced out with a groin injury. And then the Bucs kind of pulled all their starters because it kind of freaked them out a little bit. Bucky Irving didn't play in this game, so obviously he's the RB1. We know that. But this usage says, for now, White was the RB2 behind Irving. He was the backup. Now, though, White could miss some time and may lose that role. So Tucker replaced White and had 13 carries, 50 yards, touchdown, and catch for no yards. It's not really about the stats. I mean, he got all this work. I felt that Tucker is a pretty good running back. Todd Bowles had some nice things to say about Tucker. And he said that last year, he said, oh, we're going to get Tucker more involved. And then he doesn't actually get Tucker more involved. But I do think the injury to Rachaad White could open a door that, if opened, may not be closed later, if that makes sense. For me, Tucker should be rostered in every single Dynasty league. This is a running back who we've seen be good, isn't super old, is in a strong offense, and now, has more of a path to getting some work. He averaged 6.2 yards a carry on limited work last year, But we never saw more of him because Irving played all 17 games and White only missed one. So if one of them missed more time, which is now a possibility with White, we could see more from Tucker. And also, White is a free agent after 2025. We've consistently heard rumblings that the Bucs don't like White. They're almost certainly not bringing White back, next year. So if Tucker is really good and shows out, he could earn the handcuff or RB2 role for 2026, which would be nice. But either way, I think that Tucker is someone you should stash in all dynasty leagues. Now, I've got a couple additional pieces of news that kind of broke today. So first, the Alexander Mattison season-ending neck injury. He was forced out of the game with neck injury. He's going to miss the entire season. It sucks. I mean, neck injuries are like this, that are this severe, usually career-ending. We've seen that with Zach Moss, but he's out for the year. So that leaves Ollie Gordon as the running back 3 on the Dolphins depth chart behind A-Chain and Jayden Reed. So they brought in Jamal Williams for workout. I think Jamal Williams is washed. So Gordon will be the RB3. We saw that Wright could have been better as a short yardage back. Maybe Gordon will get an opportunity to prove himself. Obviously should be rostered in all dynasty leagues at this point if he wasn't already, but he was drafted in every rookie draft. So he's not on waivers. Not much to do there. And then this was news today that wasn't really relevant to the preseason, but Matthew Stafford is still not practicing. He was supposed to return to practice today from the back injury, but he didn't. Instead, he was spotted going into some sort of mobile vehicle where I don't know what was happening in there. I mean, something was happening. I don't know, some sort of treatment, mysterious treatment. And that doesn't sound so good. So I'm very nervous. Like 5 alarm fire, 10 out of 10 panic alarm here. Very nervous. Very, very nervous about Matthew Stafford. I think there's a strong chance he doesn't play week 1. I'm worried. I'm worried he doesn't make it through the season. I'm worried even if he does, he's not as effective as he would be if playing. I'm very, very, very concerned. I don't know what you do with Matthew Stafford at this point. I'd try to sell him, but it's probably too late. I'm certainly not buying. And then, the rest of the Rams receivers, I've talked about them on other videos, and there's a strong conversation about that going on in the Patreon right now. So if you're interested in more on the Rams, again, patreon.com/fantasy advice, you can join in the conversation right now. Speaking of the Patreon, we'll do the Patreon questions and then we'll wrap up the show. So first, talk about different quarterback strategy between Superflex and 1QB. That's pretty simple. In Superflex, the quarterbacks are the currency of Superflex. I like to have a lot of quarterbacks. I'm not saying I need to have a zillion quarterbacks or, go an extreme quarterback direction, but quarterbacks are valuable. I never fade quarterback in Superflex. Obviously, they're, the cornerstone of the strategy. In 1QB, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to have a bunch of assets tied up in quarterback. I find quarterbacks in 1QB almost impossible to trade. I'm fine just recycling cheaper quarterbacks in a 1QB. It's a completely different game. Quarterbacks go from the most important position to by far the least. So basically in 1QB, I just kind of don't focus on trading the quarterback position very much at all, honestly. Did you discuss the injury to Rashawn Slater and how this may impact players here? So for those who don't know, Rashawn Slater was the Chargers left tackle. He suffered a torn patella injury. He's going to miss the entire season, and that's a big blow. It's a big blow. I mean, he was just paid a massive contract. So he was a very valuable part of their offense. I'm nervous, obviously, when this type of player, this is one of the best players on their team. So, yeah, I'm nervous. Am I going to not draft Justin Herbert because of it? No. Am I going to not draft Amari and Hampton because of it? No. But, yes, I'm a little nervous. But how far am I going to move the players down? Probably not all that far. So, that's kind of my take on that. What should we do with wide receiver or tight end flyers that got later draft capital but some buzz? Players like Lambert Smith, Torrey Horton, should we be selling for a third? So typically with players like this, If you're just getting a fourth, it's probably not good enough. If you're getting a third, Lambert Smith, yeah, I would take a third immediately. For Horton, I really like what I'm hearing about Horton, but these types of wide receivers, I mean, how often is a day 3 wide receiver ever extremely valuable? You can remember all of them, like all of them. You can name them by name: Hill, Diggs, Antonio Brown, Puka Nacua. You remember every single one because there are so few. So typically with these types of guys, if I can get a third for a player I probably added off waivers, I usually take it and figure that I'm going to be right almost every time. So that's kind of my strategy there. I go through more of that in the Patreon. What's the line between improving your team and tinkering? What position do you most often see people making tinkering mistakes? Well, I mean, tinkering is making moves for no reason other than just because you want to trade. So that's kind of a line. For me, tinkering, I find that some people, it's usually running back. People are just buying too many running backs, too much wording about running back in general. A lot of what I do on the Patreon is actually preventing people from doing this. It's like, I want to do this. And I'm like, no, we don't actually want to do that. Please don't do that. Please don't trade away your firsts at a bad value type of thing. So it's typically running back, sometimes wide receiver, but I'd say mostly running back. People, when we get to this part of the year, we get to a redraft mindset, and people get obsessed with running backs. And they usually want to tinker or over tinker with the running back position. Now, if you like the video, make sure to support the channel by subscribing. And don't forget to hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content as it drops. Of course, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty and all my fantasy football content year-round. 50% discount at all tiers using code TylerYT50. You can sign up in the top right corner, patreon.com/fantasy advice. Every sign up helps support my independent content. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.